Hey everybody, I'm the Pigglesworth, and welcome back to the commentary track for Alphacraft. So this was the conclusion to the cliffhanger episode that I created. I guess technically, see, this isn't episode 1, so you could have like episode pre-1, which would be the cliffhanger one, and then this is episode pre-2. I don't know how you would count that. This is episode -1, and the cliffhanger was episode -2. There we go. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to refresh the memory of the viewer because it was a few days apart, maybe a week apart. I can't remember how close together these were released. Just kind of recapping what had happened in the cliffhanger episode, just very quickly. Introducing the idea of being in a new world, finding a portal, and being pulled into the portal. Now, something that was really cool about this portal that I had done was in a minute we're going to meet Dibs, and I'm drawing a blank on the name. I'm horrible with names in real life. As soon as I see him, I'm going to remember. Part of the reason why I don't remember his name too well is because this guy and Dibs both have since kind of gone dormant on Alphacraft, and so I haven't had a chance to really see him. Biz, that's who it is. Biz. I knew if I just talked about it for a minute, the name would come to me. But what I had done was I had taken a conversation between them two in their episode that joined with this, and the voices that you hear coming through the portal is actually a voice track taken from that episode. So what happened was I got pulled through the portal, and Biz and Dibs were messing with these potions here. And they threw a potion at a little pig doll that was on this table, and it made me appear. So to them, they think that I just appear because I'm this doll that they threw a potion at, some kind of slime potion. From my perspective, I was minding my own business and got pulled through a portal. Get it? Business? Dibs? Dibs business? Oh, man. So this is actually an area close to where Spawn is that Dibs built, like a little campsite, and he went ahead and used that for this intro as well. They both kind of came up with the little storyline. I don't fully understand what the whole slime thing is about on Alphacraft. I don't even know that it's been fully explained. I do know that they used it as a reason to reset the world from Season 1 to Season 2. But I think the lore and some of the reasoning behind it still has yet to be released. And as far as I'm aware of, it's Jackson Wild that really has been running that storyline. Oh, right behind Biz. I love the little clothes hanger thing that he built, that Dibs built. It looks like towels hanging over it or clothes drying or something. This is really cool. Oh my gosh, yeah, clear lag. This is back when clear lag used to be on the server. And every 60 seconds, if something was laying on the ground, it could get, or not every 60 seconds. I think it was every 5 minutes. I can't remember. But every so many minutes, clear lag would happen. So you could have stuff thrown on the ground that you were getting ready to pick up. And if clear lag happened, you could lose it. It could be diamonds. It could be a diamond pick. It could be it could be another star. If it was on the ground when clear lag happened, you were losing it. That was that was really frustrating is not the right word. It was very stressful. It's very stressful because if you died, normally in Minecraft you have 5 minutes before your stuff despawns. But if you died on this, yeah, you could lose your stuff. That'd be crazy. See, 11 entities disappeared. But that basically kept the server from having so much stuff built up on it that it slowed everything down. So what we did was we filmed this clip. A potion of leaping. I guess that's what was. Oh, that was what was in the brewing stand. Okay. So they're basically introducing me to the whole idea of what Alphacraft is and that it's a server. That's where I'm at. And I want to say that before this episode aired, I think I had been on the server, or I had been invited maybe about a month to a month and a half before. So usually what happens with me in life and in especially in video making, content creation, I'm very much a planner. I plan ahead. Usually whatever's being released to the public is something that I've been working on either mentally or actually filming for weeks, if not months in advance. The actual base that I built on Alphacraft, the beginning idea of what that was going to be was actually created way back when I was on a server called Full Stack. I'll get into more in that as we get further into this and we start actually seeing the base. But there was a guy that I had known, which is funny because his name has the word "no" in it. But I had known him from a server I was on called Decidedly Vanilla. Decidedly Vanilla had shut down, and I had done some solo work for a while. And one evening, and I mean solo work, like I was doing single player worlds and just different stuff like that. I wasn't on another server. I don't know how nobody's ended up on Alphacraft, but there was an event, like a UHC, and it was a bunch of people from a Bedrock server and from Alphacraft. Alphacraft being Java Minecraft instead of Bedrock. And I would have to go back and look at the history of all my different messages to see where this came from. But somebody on one of the two different servers knew me and had sent me a message to invite me to play the UHC. So I went ahead and played it. It was a whole lot of fun. I got to meet a new guy, drawing a blank on his name. I think the word ninja's in his name. I have to go back and look. But what's crazy is a bunch of people from Alphacraft were on this UHC. It's kind of the first place that I really got introduced to a lot of them. Played the UHC. I actually won. It was an insane, crazy ending. Dibs here. It was actually the final death. So it's just kind of funny that here we are, like, together on this server. And he's not trying to kill me. So that was very nice of him. But maybe a month or two later, and my dates are going to be off, really, because I'm doing this off the top of my head. Names and dates I'm horrible with. So, yeah, if somebody wants to research that, they can probably go back and find it real quick. But basically what had happened was one evening, Nobodies had sent me a message on Discord talking about a tree farm design that I created. This is how I first got to know Nobodies. Was one evening I get this tweet, and it was somebody tweeting to me that I'd never heard of before, talking about they were building my tree farm and they were live streaming it. So I went over and watched and was able to give them a few pointers on some stuff they were doing. But it was just a lot of fun to see somebody actually build something that I had come up with. Because I come up with all kinds of crazy contraptions, and me personally, I never think extremely highly of them. There's one or two things I've come up with that I thought was pretty crazy unique that I've never seen anybody do before, but they've never really taken off or gone anywhere. But for me, it's like I just want to come up with some weird, crazy contraption. So I build it, put out a tutorial, and then it is what it is. If people like it, that's cool. So that's how I got to know Nobodies, was from that. And then so he had sent me a message saying, "Hey, oh gosh, it's so crazy to see all of this still empty, because I'm so used to seeing Alphacraft with all this stuff built here now. So just going back and seeing this empty is so it's so foreign looking." But yeah, he was asking me, "Hey, do you have an update to your tree farm? Do you have any kind of improvements that you haven't come out with?" And I was like, "Oh man, I haven't even thought about that thing in a while." So I started looking at the tree farm, and I think I gave him a few suggestions, but I had an idea or two of what I wanted to do that would maybe make it a little simpler. But other than that, I was like, no, not really. And then I asked him, well, what are you up to? What are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm on this server called Alphacraft, and I'm building a tree farm on there. I just figured I'd ask you if you had any kind of new designs or anything. And I really hadn't any new designs. But that sparked up a conversation with him. And once I kind of looked at the server, I realized, oh, wow, that was the people that I had played earlier with at the UHC. And he sent me a message a day or so later and said, "Hey, are you on a server?" And I said, "No." And he's like, "Would you be interested in joining Alphacraft?" And I'm like, "Well, they seem like nice people. Are they wanting me to join?" And I think what had happened was, since they found out who I was from playing the UHC, they were looking at the time for some new members or something and had wanted to invite me. But I guess I didn't know somebody that knew me or whatever, and just kind of in that conversation, it kind of came up. "Oh yeah, we know Piggy, or nobody's knows Piggy, so he can vouch for him, and let's invite him." So I got invited on, and I spent maybe a month working on the intro credits for this episode, coming up with ideas for first few beginnings of episodes. For me, whenever I want to do a series, the first thing I do is I ask myself, what's the point to this series? I don't want to just start something because it's a trend or because it looks, like, oh, this is going to make me a big YouTuber or whatever. I don't really think in those terms. I think, especially like when I'm joining a server like this, my mind is, what do I want to accomplish artistically in the realm of Minecraft for this specific series I'm doing? And if I can't come up with an idea, I really don't go forward with it. So with this server, I was kind of like, oh, there's this unfinished idea that I had in Full Stack. I could do that here. That could be fun. This server's still young enough in the amount of time before they do a reset. I should have enough time to maybe do that. So I was like, okay, that's what I'll do here. So what I had done is I'd already come up with where I'm standing right now on the map, where my house is going to go. I'd already come up with an idea for that build, a basic premise for some of the first beginning builds of my base, and a couple of ideas for the first few episodes, because the first maybe 5 episodes in Minecraft are real tricky, because the problem with the game is, technically, every time you reset the world, you're basically going to do the same thing over and over and over again. You're going to punch trees to make tools, to find spawners, to get XP farms so that you can do enchanting. I mean, I could keep going and going, but I think you know what I mean. And so trying to come up with a creative or interesting way to basically tell the same story over and over and over again can be pretty tricky sometimes. So part of the fact that the server was already somewhat established in some of the beginning things was nice. And then I came up with a few beginning ideas for what I wanted that first episode and maybe the first 5 episodes to be. So once I had all that pre-planning put in place, I worked on the titles. I always like to work on the art assets for a series, so I come up with what the thumbnail looks like, what the music's going to be, what the title's going to be, all those different bits and pieces. I assemble those before I ever do a series. And then that way, when I'm doing the series, all I have to focus on is filming, editing, and uploading. K1 Incorporated, Louis Depew. Wow, these are names that I haven't seen in forever, because to Asgard, oh my gosh. These are people that were there when I started that are no longer, either have left the server or, C-Luv too, or have just gone so dormant that basically I've never seen them. Strangely enough, I've never been on the server at the same time with nobodies. The few other times that he had logged on, I just never ran into him on the server. So, but yeah, once I had all those bits and pieces, the art ideas, everything in place, went ahead and worked on filming my first episode and getting everything in place. So from the time I was invited to the time that I released the first episode was probably a good month to a month and a half. So it was fun trying to coordinate. You got to log on the server when nobody's on, and make sure that if people are on, if they need to film, you have to log off, because they were here first. They've got an established series, so you need to bump yourself off the server for a minute so they can record. So just coordinating all that for that first month was fun. But yeah, on this site right here, I decided, we're going to make this episode about the conclusion, introducing everybody to the idea that we're here on Alphacraft, introducing a few of the names and people that were on here. That was the whole idea of that reverse housewarming gift was I could name a bunch of golden carrots, I can put names on them, and then those could be gifts for everybody on the server, kind of as a thank you for inviting me, but at the same time, a creative, tricky way of introducing the audience to a bunch of names. Like I said, I'm always looking for a unique way to tell the same story over and over and over again, so it still feels fresh and fun. But yeah, that was the conclusion episode. It was a lot of fun to film, and I hope you had fun listening to this commentary track. Thank you.